Hmm. What is going on? I thought I pushed this. No. Why is it? What is happening? Hello? Why is it not? Why am I not showing up on screen? What is going on? Hello? You can't see me, can you? I can't see myself. I'm not sharing. There I am. But where am I? What is wrong? Why is it not showing me? Hi. You can't see me. Why is it not showing me? And this outro is okay. Why am I not showing up? Hello, how are you? What's going on? Okay, I'm gonna come back. I'm sorry. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is. I really don't. What is this? I don't know why it's not showing me. I'll be back. There I am. Are you there? Oh, somebody's still there. Hi. I don't know what happened. I did it a little differently today, and I just stayed in my studio, and I didn't go to the beginning and click into this live stream, and that's probably what happened. I did it wrong. um, I don't know why I don't have the option of taking up the whole space here. Welcome. I don't know what is going on. I'm going to delete that. Sorry. Yeah, but I don't have the option of, okay, I don't want this. Okay, add scene. Let me just add. I don't know how to add the welcome. The welcome screen is now gone. Oh well, I have no way to make myself a whole screen. I mean, I'm taking up the whole screen, so it's fine. Oh, sorry about all these technical difficulties. Well, today I thought we might go through the zodiac letters. Why not? I mean, I've never really done that. I don't know why. I just haven't. So this is like a first for me. Yes, I have gone through a couple. I've skimmed them. I've looked at a couple, just never really went through them all. I don't think. I mean, I don't think so. And I think it might be time. I don't know why, but I just think it might be time. So I'm going to bring it up. Yeah, letters. And let me make sure you're seeing me. I'm pretty sure you are. I checked to make sure I was on YouTube, and I know I am. Let me just see. I'm going to view. Forgive me if you. Okay, yeah, I'm live. I am live. And let me make sure I'm coming through. I'm going to just double check, and forgive me for the sound. Yep. Okay, I'm on there. Just want to be sure. Okay, so Epstein's letters, Zodiac letters. Okay, here they are. Zodiac Killer facts.com. All right, I'm going to share my screen. San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco, California. Isn't that funny? In the old days, we used to do that. San Fran, California. Please rush to editor. This is my handwriting. I had such good handwriting at age 3. I had the best tutor daddy. And I'm not talking about Dennis Wayne Elliott. I'm talking about Clint Eastwood, who is also known as Jose Toda. That was my daddy. Okay, so these are all. Okay, I have been at this website before. Okay, I have glanced through, but I have never gone through each of the letters. So I just thought today was the day. So is this the first one, July 31st, 1969? He was around for okay, these are like fake people. I mean, there was the Zodiac, the copycat Zodiac killer. That was David Wayne Craig. Okay. He didn't know who the Zodiac was. He was just obsessed with him. And when he transferred to the University of San Francisco, I believe that's the name of the college he transferred to, he became the copycat Zodiac killer. That was the beginning of David Wayne Craig's career. And so all of these letters that come later have nothing. Well, there is a link between one or two, a few of them, but the rest are just not the real deal. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the first letter, July 31st. That was half the year, because we left California in 1970. And this is we're already out of California, October 5th. July, we were en route to the East Coast in July of 1970. June, we were leaving. So I don't know. We'll get to those and we'll figure them out as we go. I'm just thinking this is the last one. And there is a fake one that is linked to me and, to us as a family. That is, I mean, I know where that one came from. Um, I know my father, Dennis Wayne Elliott, did send a couple cards. I do remember that. So let's start with July 31st. This is July 31st is a birthday of someone I know. Interesting that there are 3 Zodiac killers. I guess he sent out 3 letters. This was the beginning of the Zodiac, right? He just sent out 3 to the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and Vallejo Times. Okay. I guess that's when he committed one of his horrible, he must have committed that horrible murder in Vallejo at that time, right? That must have been his first one. Okay. All right, let's just start with Vallejo Times. Here we go. Okay. Oh, see, this was my handwriting. I mean, I believe in us. I mean, it looks so tidy. Cipher on your front page by Friday afternoon. Fry. It's misspelled like fry, and that would be what a little girl would do, right? And maybe he liked it. He probably saw it, and said, "Oh yeah, just leave it that way." Friday afternoon, August 1, 1969. If you do not do this, I will go on a KILL rampage. Friday night, what will last the whole weekend? See, 2 words. I will cruise around. See, cruise is spelled wrong. And pick off, and it's not it's of, but off all steep people in, I don't know. Is there has somebody like typed this up to, I can't even read the handwriting. Let me see. Can I make it bigger? Let's see. What is this? That's just to move along. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. Maybe I can make it bigger this way. Pick up all street people on cripples. Yeah. Street people or cripples that are alone, then move on to KILL some more until 2 L's until I have killed KILLED over a dozen people. Okay, so he wants them to solve the cipher on your front page by, okay, he wants them to publish his cipher on the front page by Friday afternoon, August 1st of 1969. And if they don't do this, he's going to go on a KILL rampage Friday night that will last the whole week, and he'll cruise around and pick up all street people or cripples that are alone, then move on to KIL some more until I have KILL over a dozen people. Okay. And this is the other one. And am I still enlarging this? Yes. Okay. I am the KILLER of the 2 from last Christmas. The 2, is it kids? What is this? Oh, sorry. I don't want us to do that. No. Cancel. The 2 from somewhere last Christmas are late. See, I can't. And the girl last 4th of July. To prove this, I shall state something which only I and the police know. Christmas, and 2S at the end, 2 S's at the end of Christmas. Super X, brand name at 10 shots fired. Brand name of ammo, Super X. Okay, brand name of ammo, Super X. 10 shots fired. Boy on back was on back, feet to car. Girl was laying on right side, feet to west. 4th of July. That was Christmas. 4th of July. Girl was wearing pattern of P. Something P. Boy shot in knee. Was also shot in knee. Was wearing pattern of pearls. I don't know. Brand name of ammo was Western. Here is a cipher on that is part of car. The other two parts have been to San Francisco Examiner and San Francisco Chronicle. I want you to publish pub plus, I don't know what it says, have been weekend wrecked to the other two parts have been to the San Francisco Examiner have been, I don't know, worked. Looks like worked or marked to the San Francisco. And okay, so there are two other ciphers. They have their cipher, and then the San Francisco Chronicle and the San Francisco Examiner have been sent their ciphers, right? Or different parts of the same cipher. And here's the cipher, I guess. Yeah, now my father did the cipher. Okay, he did all this. Wait, somebody else did this. Right. He did this, my father, Dennis. And you can see it. It's very tidy and neat and, not like the writing before that. I mean, even though the writing was really tidy for a 3-year-old. Yeah, and I see it was kind of at a slant. I wrote it too. All right, I write that in a slant today. Can't even read this. And then he has this, and this symbol he got. My father, Dennis Wayne Elliott. He got this from. We were eating cereal one morning, and he told me that he had decided on his symbol, and it was on the edge of the box. If you take apart any box really, but a cereal box, you'll see that the printer that prints the box has a sign like this on it. And that's where he got that symbol from, the Cheerios box in the morning. Okay. Just want you to know. Dear editors, I am the KILL of those or whatever. See, I can't even read this. Right. This is the same thing, right? I guess they cleaned it up. This is the same thing, right? Yeah, I want you to print it here. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I feel like, yeah, see, isn't that the same letter? They just cleaned it up. so we could read it better. Okay, how do I go down the other way now? I want to see the rest. Okay, there. I guess because I haven't. Please rush to editor. Okay, and you can tell that it's, Japanese people. My first language was Japanese, and I was learning hiragana and everything when I was a toddler. Clint Eastwood, is I know it sounds really weird because he's like this American actor, director. He really is British. He was Queen Elizabeth's the firstborn twin. Queen Elizabeth was the second-born twin. And so he's British. But Daddy, there were two Clint Eastwoods, I guess I could say, because that you have a picture in your mind of how of Clint Eastwood, I'm sure. There was real daddy and fake daddy. That I came up with those terms, I believe. And the guy who was born Clint Eastwood was not the guy who became famous as Clint Eastwood in America. He was a British guy, and when Daddy, Daddy actually is Jose Tota, who was born in 1900, and he died in 1958 in Japan. And he was from Vega, a place called Vega, where it's common that people go into other bodies. I know it sounds like science fiction. It sounds like Harry Potter, but it's real. It's top secret technology. CIA people do it all the time. That's like how they disguise themselves. They go into a different body. So you would never, it's not even a disguise. They have disguises, but it's much easier when you go into a different body. Nobody, you're a totally different person, and nobody knows who you really are inside. Because inside you retain your identity when this is done. It's like a tanning bed that you go in. It resembles a tanning bed, and they close it up. You're laying there, and they do something on a computer or whatever, and the machine puts you inside either. I mean, you can be put inside an embryo that is going to be implanted in a womb or is implanted in a womb, or you can be implanted in somebody. You could be the second, like, identical twin of somebody who's already alive. And that's what Daddy did. He decided to be the body double of my genetic father. His actual name was Bert Fields. And I know that's the same name as Tom Cruise's lawyer. I do not believe that Tom Cruise's lawyer was actually the same person, but he had the exact same name. And that helped me remember him. You see, he did that. Daddy managed Tom Cruise. I mean, he produced so many people, and one of them is Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, all of them. He produced them all. So, he wanted to be the body double of one of my genetic fathers many times over. And that was Bert Fields. And that's, Clint Eastwood. That's who he is, Bert Fields. But he became Clint Eastwood. He used another name to become famous in Hollywood. The real, so there were two daddies, right? I had two daddies. One was the reason I called him Real Daddy, who, he actually is not the original Bert Fields that was born. Bert Fields, Jose Tota, he went and he became his body double, but he was my real daddy. And I called the guy who was born Bert Fields, who was the older twin, the firstborn twin of Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was the second-born twin. I called him Fake Daddy. And it was Real Daddy who raised me. And, his first language was, my first language was Japanese, and he taught me Japanese, and that's how we spoke. And, because my own mother did not speak to me. She was American, and she didn't speak to me in English. She was always kind of drunk or passed out or whatever. And so Daddy had the opportunity to raise me himself. I'm going to just turn this down because it's making a lot of noise, isn't it? I don't know. I guess I'm getting a lot of emails right now. So yeah, I spoke. I started speaking as a baby at age 6 months, and I spoke fluent. I mean, I spoke very clearly. I began speaking very clearly. He said he emphasized. I started speaking very clearly at age 6 months, which is really unusual. And he, of course, taught me to write and everything. And you can see this handwriting resembles, when Japanese people write English, you notice how it looks like that. The way that they use the brush strokes are very similar. Am I even in this? Yeah, I guess I am. Okay. You can see the brush strokes are you can see how maybe this is somebody who is used to writing in Japanese. Just even this R, see this R and how it doesn't even connect. See, when we as Americans, I mean native speakers of English that write an R, we don't separate that, right? Like I separated it. Because then Japanese and hiragana and all that, it's separated. But in English, we just like it's one stroke, right? But see, this is two different strokes. You can see that it's obvious that it looks very Japanese to me because I've seen Japanese people write in English, and it's a similar style. Here we go. Vallejo Times, Vallejo Caliph. Please rush to editor. I guess I did one stroke there. It's just the style. It just seems seems reminiscent of a Japanese person in the way they kind of write. They write very clearly. I mean, not that this is the most clear because I'm a 3-year-old child, but it's pretty darn good for a 3-year-old child's writing. Let's see if I can get to the end. Is there anything else? No. All right, so let's go to the next one. Home. Okay. So these are different. What about the letters? I just want to go back to the letters. I have to go through all of these. And I guess these are similar, right? And this is the cipher. And this is, somebody solved it. Do not print this cipher. I will, if you do not. Where's the continuation? This is like the last page, isn't it? Okay, so this is the envelope. Please rush to edit. See, this is like a little child. You can see that, right? Editor. Let's see if I can go any further. I don't know why this is doing this. Go away. Okay, this must be the first page here. Dear editor, I am the KILLER of the two teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman. That's in Viejo. And the girl last 4th of July. To prove this, I shall state some facts, which, see, I can read this one better, which maybe the other one got wet. Only I and the police know. Christmas. Brand name, right? We already went through this. It's the same thing. And I guess I had to handwrite each one of them separately. 10 shots fired. Brand name of the ammo, Super X. Boy was on his back with foot to car. Girl was lying, spelled wrong, on right side, feet to west. 4th of July, girl was wearing patterned pants. Okay. Patterned pants. Boy was also shot in knee. Ammo was made by Western. Here is a cipher, or that's part of one. The other two parts and are being mailed to the Vallejo Times and San Francisco Chronicle. I want you to print this cipher on the front page by Friday afternoon, August 1, 69. If you do not print this cipher, I will go on a KILL rampage Friday night. This will last the whole weekend, and I will cruise around KILLING people who are alone at night until Sunday night, or until I KILL a dozen people. Okay. All right. Now, I do not, he dictated these letters to me. Okay, letters. Let's go to the letters. Okay. That's not the page I wanted. I wanted the original page. There it is. Okay, and this is really much the same. I'm just going to kind of go through it, though. Please rush to editor. And this is the envelope. Look at how perfect that is. I'm trying really hard to be tidy and neat. Right? Yeah, he dictated these letters. I don't really remember them very much. The one that I remember the most was the last one, and there were a couple other ones I remember aspects of, which I'll mention as we go through them. Okay, so this is the first letter. I guess this is one of them. There's two copies of the first page. This is the MURDERER. Yeah. Of the two teenagers last Christmas, 2 S's at Lake Herman and the girl in the world. It's the same thing. Okay, he says a little, there are slight differences. Near the golf course in Vallejo. To prove I KILL'd them, I shall state some facts which only I and the police know. Christmas, 2 S's. Brand name of ammo, Super X. 10 shots were fired. The boy was on his back with his foot to the car. The girl was on her right side, foot to the west. She was on her right side, foot to the west. 4th of July, girl was wearing patterned slacks. See, these are different words. The boy was also shot in the knee. Brand name of ammo was Western over. See, that's the same one. Here is part of a cipher. The other two parts of the cipher are being mailed to the editors of the Vallejo Times and San Francisco Examiner. I want you to print this cipher on the front page of your paper. And this cipher is my identity. If you do not print this cipher by the afternoon of FRY, 1st of August 69, I will go on a KILL rampage Friday night. I will cruise around all weekend killing. I shouldn't be saying those words. Sorry. KILLING. It's too late now. Lone people in the night. Then something to KILL again until 2 L's. I end up with a dozen people over the weekend. Yeah, when he dictated these letters to me, I didn't really know what he was talking about. I just wrote what he wanted me to write, He would sometimes ask for my feedback and I'd give it to him, but these were the first letters, so I was just trying to write them right. I remember it was like a new thing and I was trying to do what do my best. And that's why I remember not really understanding what the hell he was talking about, but he wanted me to write what he wanted me to write, so I wrote it. Okay. Let me go back now. Okay. So now we're moving up to August 4th. So he sent all these out at the same time. These were his first letters. And then I guess he settled on, well, I guess he started with the Examiner, but he also went back to the Chronicle. The Chronicle was the main paper, as I recall, when I was up living that way. Yeah, it looks like he settled on the Chronicle at the end, right? But okay, he starts with the Examiner on the August 4th. It looks like I'm not going to be able to read these very well. Okay. This is not the first page. Where is this? Is this the first page? Dear editor. This is the Zodiac speaking. In answer to your asking for more details about the good times I have had in Vallejo, I shall be very happy to supply even more material. By the way, and the police having a good time with the code? Are the police having a good time with the code? If not, tell them to cheer up. When they do crack it, they will have me. On the 4th of July, I did not open the car door. The window was rolled down all the way. Already. It's 2 L's. Yeah. This is a child. I was a child. I was 3 years old. I didn't know how to spell everything, I guess. So rolled down already. The boy was originally sitting in the front seat when I began firing. When I fired the first shot of his head or on his head, he leaped backwards at the same time, thus spoiling my, I don't know what this is, spoiling my something. Spoiling my PIM. It looks like PIM, but it's not. That doesn't make sense. My whatever. I don't know what it says. He opened up on the back seat. I don't know. Then the floor and back. I wish somebody would type these up. It's really hard to read. Sorry. It looks like the letter got wet or something. And also the handwriting is hard. I know it. I was 3 years old. I mean, really good handwriting for 3 years old, I think. He opened up on the back seat, then the floor and back, thrashing and very violently with his legs over her. I shot his this is the second page. Knee. I guess he was still alive, so he shot his knee because he was moving his legs. I did not, I don't know, leave the scene or the what? Of this killing, the whatever of this killing with squealing tires. I'm thinking he said I don't know why they have this over what he wrote. I mean, why would they do that? I'm thinking there's a not leave the crime of this killing. I'm thinking it's what it says with squealing tires, 2 L's, as described in the Vallejo paper. I drove away quite slowly so as not to draw attention to my car. The man who did told the police that my car was a Negro, about 40 to 45, rather shabbily dressed. Did they still call African Americans Negroes in those days? I guess they did, right? I don't know. I was at this phone booth having some fun with the Vallejo cop when he was walking by. When I hung up the phone. Hung the phone up, the something XO thing began to ring, and that drew his attention to me and my car. Last Christmas, in that episode, the police, and I think that's spelled wrong, were wondering as to how I could in the dark, how I could shoot and kill my victims in the dark. They did not openly state this, but implied this by saying it was something tonight, and I could see the silhouette on the horizon. Bullshit. That I can't read it. Hi, I can't read this. Why don't they make these? Why don't they? No address. Okay. What I do, small price, flashlight to the barrel of my gun. So he's saying he used a flashlight. If you, in the center, something in the center of your barrel light, if you can aim at a wall cradling, you will see a black or dark spot in the center of the circle of light, 3 to 6 inches across. When topped to a gun barrel, the bullet will strike exactly in the center of the black dot in the light. All I had to do was spray them as if it were something. There was blank. I mean, all this is faded. I was not happy. Okay. So, he was, you have to understand, Dennis Wayne Elliott was trained by the CIA to be a hitman. He killed people for the CIA. So he was trained with guns. I mean, I never saw guns around our house or anything, but I mean, he would hide them, in those days, behind the couch, I remember. But they were never around. My mother never knew about it. She never did housework to discover it behind the couch. I think she once accidentally discovered it. But yeah, he used a silencer. He was trained by the government And that's why he was able to do things that they didn't understand. You know, he was trained. He got the best training. Okay. All right, so that's around August 4th, 1969. So that was just like a week later or something. And this was the message on the car door, Lake Berryessa. That was in let's just look at it. Right. This was oh, look at that. It does look like his handwriting. It looks like my handwriting. It does. Well, it looks different, doesn't it? It does. It does look different. He's trying to disguise his handwriting. This is not my father's handwriting. July 4th, September 27th, by name, right? And what else does it say? And it just has that. And what is this? Vallejo. It's a little different handwriting. Okay. Because his handwriting, you know, he didn't write the letters. He wanted to make sure nobody could find him, and that's why it was perfect for me to write them for him. Okay, so he wasn't active that long, was he? He had like a few. He finally wrote to the papers after he had committed 2 crimes. And one of them was this one, right? It says September. Oh, this was later. Okay. This was again later in Viejo. And then this is October 13th regarding Paul Stein. This is the taxi driver. This is the one I witnessed this particular MURDER, and it was horrific. Okay. So this was October 13th. This is just before my 4th birthday. I'm 3 years old, almost 4. This is the Zodiac speaking. This is when I was starting, you know, when I knew he was wrong. You know, like I was up until this letter. I trusted him. He said he knew what he was doing, and just to write what he wanted me to write. But it wasn't until I actually saw what he did, you know, to that poor taxi driver, that I started to understand that this was really, really wrong. And I started to try to talk sense into him. But he made me, he's like, you know, he made me dictate these. I mean, he dictated, he made me write these. Okay. He dictated what to write. This is the Zodiac speaking. I am the MURDERER of the taxi driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a bloodstained piece of his shirt. And my father kept another bloodstained piece of his shirt on his desk in a little box. Okay. I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay. I don't know what that says. North Bay. Something. The San Francisco police could have caught me last night, and they could have, I remember, if they had searched the park properly instead of holding road something, I don't know, stops, I don't know what they were, road something with their motor. I don't know what that says. Seeing who could make the most noise with their motorcycles, seeing who could make the most noise. He's making fun of them. The car drivers should have just parked their cars and sat there quietly waiting for me to come out of cover. School children make nice targets. I think wait I will I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick off the kitties as they come bouncing out. See, this is the letter that put me over the edge with my father, and I was determined to turn him in after this because that hit too close to home. He called me kiddo, and when he started talking about kitties, it was like I'm a kitty. You're gonna kill people like me. I mean, I was maturing and understanding that, I had that maybe I could do something about this. San Francisco Chronicle. Please rush to editor. And it was after this that I came forward to my mother to try to tell her about this. And I showed her the piece of the taxi driver's bloodied shirt. I took it out of the box on my father's desk in the den, and I showed my mother, and my mother was like, why does Denny keep a woman's bloody rag on his desk? That's what she said. And I'm like, Mommy, it's not a bloody rag. It's from the taxi driver. It was striped, as I recall. And she's like, "Oh, don't be silly, Claire. No, it's just a lady's bloody rag, and I don't know why your father would ever keep something like that on his desk." And she went and asked him about it later, and he didn't have an answer because, he knew I had shown her, but he didn't have an answer for her. Of course. Okay, let's go back. And I thought there were many more letters. There were very few. Okay, and this is when I got him to call into, after this, I got him to call into, I brought it up yesterday. Zodiac calls in TV show. Right. So this is it right here. The Zodiac call on TV refers to the October 22nd. This is the day after my 4th birthday. Okay. An incident where a man calling himself the Zodiac Killer called into KGO TV's AM San Francisco show demanding to speak with attorney Melvin Belli, who was on the program at the time. This event was based on a real-life story that has been depicted in films like the 2007 movie Zodiac. What happened? A man claiming to be the Zodiac Killer called the station demanding to speak with Belly or F. Lee Bailey. Okay, either or. There were two different guys. The show's host, Jim Dunbar, interviewed the caller, who eventually identified himself as the KILLER. The call was made on October 22nd, 1969. The specific TV show was AM San Francisco and on KGO TV. Now, at this time, my mother was probably hadn't woken up yet. My father had a routine every morning, and I believe the baby was still sleeping too. It was just me and my father at the time, and I was trying to get him to call in, and he did. And I felt so victorious. He was going to turn himself in. He was going to turn himself in. So the caller's name. What? They say that they identified the guy? No. It says the caller's name was Eric Wheel, a mental patient who was later dismissed as the Zodiac Killer by investigators. Oh. Meaning that he gave the fake name of Eric Wheel? I don't know. This event is famous as a real-life moment where the public saw an apparent interaction with the Zodiac Killer. The incident was recreated in the 2007 film Zodiac. Yeah. Yeah, I heard the real here has anyone ever heard the real voice of the Zodiac Killer? Yeah, me. He was my father, and he is on that program. Yeah, his voice is on the air in on that program. It says mental patient Eric Wheel duped attorney. What is it saying? Okay, I'm gonna share this. Oh, am I on here? Yeah, there we go. All right, so I just want to hear about he duped the attorney. What? Okay, so there were only 5 victims that were killed by the Zodiac Killer. This was the last one, the taxi driver, and it's because of me that that was the last one. I put an end to him. I mean, I was trying to get the attention of adults, nobody would listen. My mother wouldn't do anything. Finally, my uncle Norm was visiting. I told him about it. He I showed him the bloody piece of shirt from Paul E. Stein, and we went to my mother. He believed me, and we went to my mother, and then Uncle Norm said, "What do you want? What are we going to do about this?" And she said, "Well, we can't, if you turn him in, it'll ruin our lives." And Uncle Norm said, "Oh, I don't want to ruin your lives." And he was, and I'm standing there. I'm thinking, I'm a 4-year-old thinking, my life is already ruined, Uncle Norm. What do you think? I'm trying to do something about this so my life isn't ruined anymore. Norm decided to threaten my father, and this is when he found out, he was my uncle Norm was shocked. And when he confronted my father before we went to talk to my mother, he said, this guy is you, the Zodiac Killer is you. And my father confessed that he was, and he's like, anyway, so when he was with my mother and my father was there, we were all standing. I'm trying to think where we were in the house when we were all standing around talking about this. It was a big deal. Was it in the back family room or was it in the living room? I'm really thinking it was in the living room, the front room. That's where most of everything happened in our household, except for when people came over and all the bad things happened. It was in the back. But this was in the middle of the living room, as I recall. We were all standing together. And so my father, I mean, my grandpa, my uncle Norm said, if you've got to stop this now. You got to stop. And he said, if I ever find out that you haven't stopped, I'm going to turn you in. I'll turn you in then. And my father promised to stop, and that was the end of it. And my mother, he had elevator shoes and stuff in the closet that he used for, for what he did in Vallejo. I think he wore elevator shoes to make himself appear taller than he was. And I remember after this whole thing, my mother went into the closet and she's like, "Oh, he doesn't need these anymore." And she threw them all away. She threw away all that evidence, his elevator shoes. I think he had his Zodiac costume and everything in there. And she just went into the closet and threw out everything. And my father's like, "Where did all my stuff go?" And I told him that mom had thrown them away. And I think she was mommy at that time. I called her mommy. And he was like, "Ugh," and I said, "Well, you don't need them anymore because you're not going to do this anymore." And he's like, but he was upset that she had thrown them away. Um, yeah, I can't believe that's it. I mean, it was because he was the first person to do something like this that he became so well known. I mean, these aren't very many people. And I have since told my uncle Norm that he didn't stop. You said you were gonna turn him in if you ever heard that he did this again. Well, guess what? He didn't stop. He kept doing it. He just didn't do it as the Zodiac Killer anymore. And I'm going to just show you my uncle. He's alive and well. Norman. He's really Norman. He's Norm Elliott. I'll share this with you in a minute. I just have to find him because there's another. I have to put Salt Lake City because there are other Norman Elliott's. There's an obituary, but that's not him. Okay, I have all his. I just want to find a good picture for you. Where is he? University of Utah. There's a LinkedIn. University of Utah. I don't see where his picture. Maybe he took all of the pictures down. I don't see him anymore. He used to be all over, and maybe he had it scrubbed. Knowing Claire was telling him, I'm full of surprises. He knows I am full of surprises. Oh, where is he? I mean, I see him, his name, but there's no photos anymore. I have a photo. I saved a photo a long time ago. I just don't know where it is now. University of Utah. Where is? It'll be over at LinkedIn. Okay. He's Professor Emeritus. Okay, I'm going to share this with you. You can't really see this because it's like a black and white photo right here. Let's get it really bigger. It's not, you can't really see it well. I don't remember it being black and white like that. I think he just really, he must have done something worried about me. Let's make it bigger. I told you the story of him yesterday. Oh, where is this? Let's get rid of those. It's so annoying. I can't get this right. I'm trying to make it big, but I can't see now. Where is this? There he is. There he is. Direct descendant of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. Okay. He looks a lot like my father. He's, Henry Willis is not his only father. He looks like Robert Elliott as well. My grandfather. My grandmother's first husband. Okay, let me go back to, and let's share this instead. All right, so we just looked at the murder. I'm not supposed to say that word on YouTube. Paul Stein. This is the dripping pen card and 340 cipher. This is still 1969. So Lake Berryessa, and then October. And I got him to call into that show. I told Norm about it, and he confronted my mother, confronted my father, and then chickened out. He did not inherit the courage gene, nor Uncle Norm. He's not very courageous. But okay. On one of these, after my father, Dennis, wanted to be turned in, he did. There was a part of him, I'll say a part of him, that wanted to turn himself in, but he couldn't turn himself in. And when Norman failed to turn him in, first of all, his own wife, my mother, failed to, because she didn't want to ruin our lives, even though my life was already ruined. When Norm failed to turn him in, my father put one of Norm's hairs. He was visiting us. He would come to visit us. He was a hippie at the time, chanting and demonstrating in San Francisco. He dodged the draft like 20 times or something, and was burning his draft card in San Francisco all the time. And that's why he was at our house. We lived in Palo Alto, California, which is just, I don't know how far from the city, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. So let's see. Is this the next thing he sends in the mail? Let's see. Please rush. This is the Chronicle. Maybe I don't know which letter they say there was a hair underneath. The hair is my Uncle Norm's hair, and that's how they identify, they know who my father is. They knew who the FBI knew who my father was from the very beginning, even back then. But the problem was he worked for our government. He was a CIA operative, and there was a, um, what is it called? What's the word I'm trying to think of? There was an agreement. There was a contract. That's it. There was a contract, and they could not bring him to justice in his lifetime. The agreement was that that he would get away with all his crimes and die, in, like, unknown, in exchange for me getting a percentage of all the money he earned. And this was arranged by daddy since the time I was a baby. And that's why he became the Zodiac killer, because he knew he would get away with it. Um, but there was a part of him, my father, Dennis, I think I know he was a schizophrenic. I know he heard voices. He told me he heard voices. He told me that he would eat, take cough drops and or cough medicine, and he would hear voices. And when I was a young child, 3 years old, 2 years old, younger, whatever, he would give me cough medicine, and I would take the same cough medicine. He'd hear voices. I wouldn't hear anything. And daddy, got him to stop doing, he told me, daddy told me it was not good for me to drink the cough syrup, and that I shouldn't drink it. But my father would hear voices when he drank cough syrup. But it didn't do anything for me. I mean, it wasn't good for me. I don't know what it did to me, though. I didn't really notice anything that it did for me. I mean, maybe it made me drunk or something, because there's a lot of, in those days in the 60s, it had a lot of alcohol in it. I'm sure it affected me somehow, but my father thought that I would hear voices like he did, and I just never heard the voices he heard. Um, and obviously he's bipolar. He has this rage, and by the way, I should mention, and I don't talk about this a lot. David David Wayne Craig was named David Wayne Craig after Dennis Wayne Elliott, my father. Why? Because he is his genetic son. And David is a schizophrenic and is bipolar. My father was very robotic also, so maybe he had an issue with autism as well, like a slight touch of it, kind of like David has, and David is Brian Koberger in Idaho, just so you're aware. I mean, I know he's supposed to be 30 years old. He's not. It's a disguise. Um, so they're all related. And I'm married to Dean Wayne Boyd, and he's a twin, and his twin is named Dennis Allen Boyd, and he's Dean Wayne Boyd. They were named after my father because my father is their genetic father. And thank goodness, Dean was the firstborn, but their mother swapped the bracelets, or decided to. Dean has one crown, and Dennis has two crowns, literally on their head, on their scalp, and that's how you could tell them apart. And one crown was the firstborn, two crowns was the secondborn. I mean, even nature marked them so you wouldn't be able to confuse them. When they were babies, they were very difficult to tell apart. They were very identical when they were children. I mean, I think that Dennis had a longer chin or something, a pointier chin, but it was hard to tell them apart. And I guess she just decided to call Dennis Dean and Dean Dennis, because she could control the secondborn more than she could control the firstborn. And she wanted a docile child she can control to be the firstborn, because I guess she was told that the firstborn had some kind of special inheritance or something. But it was Dean who was the firstborn. I mean, Dennis can't do anything without Dean leading the way. I mean, you know, Dennis is always tries to get Dean to do everything. There was a time when he couldn't even speak on the phone. Dean had to get on the phone and pretend he was Dennis. I mean, they did that for till they were in their 50s. And then finally, towards the end of their mother's life, I guess she was trying to get him to be able to be more independent in preparation for her death. And he started speaking to people on the phone for the first time in his like late 50s. It's really sad. He's more autistic. Dean has a little touch of it. It's not that bad. Um, you know, I mean, Dean has his issues. He's bipolar. He takes medication. He's been diagnosed with bipolar. Little touch of delusion. Uh, but he sometimes sees things when he drives. That's why I drive most of the time. Nothing serious. I do think, there's a little schizoaffective disorder there, and with both of them. And Dennis was always worse. And then, of course, he got into a car accident. I'm talking about Dennis Boyd. He got into a car accident in 2016, June of 2016. And now he has brain injury on top of all that. So he's obviously not the most functional twin. I mean, they both have issues, but of the two, Dean is the more functional one. He doesn't have the facade, he doesn't put on the facade to look more perfect. Dennis is good at putting on the facade to appear. He's very conscientious about his appearance, whereas Dean, he's the nonconformist. He claims to be the nonconformist. Very different people. Okay, so I went into all of that just to explain that the copycat Zodiac killer is David Wayne Craig, who is the genetic son of the Zodiac killer. And I'm sure he was thrilled when I finally told him that. And that's why he's so much like my father. And that's what drew me to him a lot of, other than, I knew him since childhood. There was that, that was the main reason I was drawn to him without understanding why. I wasn't yet remembering him. But he was always a lot like my father, like a tall, good-looking version of my father. My father wasn't tall. He always said he was 5'9", but he was probably like 5'8" or something. And little chunky. And not the most attractive. He was really cute as a kid. He was Dennis the Menace. The show Dennis the Menace was inspired by my father, and he looked like that kid on Dennis the Menace when he was a kid. But then his hair became brown when he reached adolescence, and he needed glasses around the same time. And then his features changed after adolescence, and he just did not look like the same person anymore. Was not the most attractive guy. Okay. So this might have been when he put Norm's hair under, and I'm going to look up which letter that is. It would have been a letter after the last, after the taxi driver was unalived. Okay. So this is a cipher. My father did this. This was his doing. I had nothing to do with this. He really loved doing the ciphers. He really enjoyed it. Okay. And I can't do a thing with it. I guess that's the card. Where's the card? This is the card he sent. Sorry I haven't written, but I just washed my pen. And this is the inside. And I can't do a thing with it. All right. So this is the Zodiac speaking. Though you would, I thought, there's no T at the end of though. I thought you would need a good laugh before you hear the bad news. You won't, you something got the news for a while yet. You haven't, or you won't get the news for a while yet. P.S. Could you print this news cipher in your front page? I get awfully 2 L's lonely when I am ignored. So lonely I could do my thing. And this is, I can't do a thing with it. July, August, September, okay, so December, July, August, September, 7. Okay. This is the same thing here. And what is this thing? Is there's something on the bottom of this one? American Greetings Corp, Cleveland, USA. Cleveland, okay. Yeah, we lived in Palo Alto, California. We didn't live anywhere near Cleveland. Okay, let me see if I can get farther. Is there anything more? There. Okay, we already showed that. All right, let's see. All right, so that's what we looked at just now. All right, so that's November 8th, and then it's the next day that he sends this letter. And that was definitely my handwriting. I can tell. This is this. What's the first one? See, I can't. I wish they would organize these so you can see. Well, here's the envelope. Okay, what that looks different, but that's the same writing. Please rush to editor. Okay. Yeah, he was an engineer. He was an engineer. He drew this, and then I wrote everything in. I remember. Let's see. Bus. Press by. Okay. Bus goes bang. Car pass is by. Okay. That's the bus, and that's the car. Okay. Yeah, I think these are his drawings, definitely. And I think he had me write everything in there. Okay. Just trying to see where the beginning is. I'm thinking, okay, this, it looks like it says 1. So maybe this is the first one. Here it is. Okay. This is the Zodiac speaking. Up to the end of October, I have KILLED 7 people. I have grown rather angry with the police for their telling lies about me. So I shall change the way something collecting of slaves. The way, I don't know what this word is, collecting of slaves. The way she collect the way the collecting of slaves, I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, KILLINGS, of anger, plus a few fake accidents, etc. The police shall never catch me because I have been too clever for them. 1. I look like this description passed out only when I do my thing. I look like this, like the description passed out only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. This is true. I shall not tell you what my disguise consists of when I KILL. As of yet, I have left no fingerprints behind me, contrary to what the police say. He used airplane glue on his fingertips, right? He had that on his desk in the den. In my KILLING, I wear transparent fingertip guards. All it is 2 coats of airplane cement, right? Cement glue coated on my fingertips. I don't know what this word is. Something unnoticeable and very effective. 3, my KILLING tools have been bought through the mail order outfits before the ban went into effect. And no F there, no leaving out an F, except one, and it was bought out of the store. So as you see, the police don't have much to work on. If you wonder why I was wiping something cab down, I was leaving fake something for the police. Fake claws? What? Fake clowns for the police to something all over, to fawn over. Town with, as one might say, I gave the cops some busy work to do, so keep them happy. I enjoy needling the blue pigs. Hey, blue pig, I was in the park. You were using fire tracks to mask the sound of your cruising prowl cars. The dogs never come within 2 blocks of me, and they were to the west, and there was only 2 groups of barking about 10 minutes apart. Then the motorcycles went by about 150 feet away, going from south to northwest. P.S. 2 cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. I was walking down the hill to the park when this cop car pulled up, and one of them called me over and asked me if I saw anyone acting suspicious or strange in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And I said, yes, there was this man who was running by waving a gun, and the cops peeled, I don't know, and went around the corner as I directed them, and I disappeared into the park. Never to be seen again. Park about a block and a half away, never to be seen again. So I guess he came into contact with the cops when they were looking for him, and they asked him if they had seen anyone suspicious, because they didn't think he looked suspicious, and he directed them to go the wrong way, and then he got away and never to be seen again. Hey, pig, doesn't it rile you up to have you in your boo-boos, to have your nose rubbed in your boo-boos? If your cops think I'm going to take on a bus the way I stated I was, you deserve to have holes in your heads. Okay. Take 1 something of ammonium nitrite fertilizer and 1 gallon of stove oil, and dump a few bags of gravel on top and then set the shit off and will positively ventilate anything that should be in the way of the blast. The death machine is already made. I would have sent you pictures, but you would be nasty enough to trace them back to the developer and then to me. So I shall describe my masterpiece to you. The nice part of it is all the parts can be bought on the open market with no questions asked. One battery per clock will run for approximately 1 year. Photoelectric switch, one photoelectric switch, two something leaf springs, two CV Cobat, I don't know, flashlight bulb and reflector, one of them, one mirror, two 18-inch cardboard tubes, block with shoe polish inside, and I don't know what. And I guess he's describing this. Oops. He didn't make it. I don't remember him making this. He's saying that he made it. I don't remember that. I don't remember any contraption like that. He just drew it and planned it. The system cheats out from one end to the other in my tests. What you do not know is whether the death machine is at the site or whether it is being stored in my basement for we didn't have a basement. not in Palo Alto. No, we didn't have a basement in Palo Alto. I mean, I could be wrong. We had basements when we lived back east, you know. We lived in the Northeast. Yeah, we always had basements, but not in California that I remember. For future use. Okay, so he's storing it in his basement for future use. I think you do not have the manpower to stop this one by continually searching the roadsides looking for this thing, and it won't do to because the bomb can be adapted to new conditions. Have fun. By the way, it could be rather messy if you try to bluff me. So share and print the part I marked out on page 3 or I shall do my thing. And he's got X's. It's 4, 5. Okay. I don't know. He didn't, I mean, as far as I know, he didn't build this. Okay. I remember him drawing this. But he didn't build it. And we didn't have a basement. He was bluffing. And by this time, I mean, I don't know, but by this time, I'm really, I would think that we would have told Uncle Norm by now. Remember, he threatened he would turn him in if he ever found out that he did anything else. And he's being still rather bold. I know I got him to call into the show before, and I tried to tell my mother before we ever told Uncle Norm. So that was on November 9th. He's talking about the death machine, okay. And we're still in the same year. He started in July, end of July, August, and we're in November, a few months later. A few months later. All right, Melvin. That's funny. Melvin is the first name of someone I grew up with in Palo Alto. Her father's name was Melvin. And that's interesting that he was reaching out to Melvin Belly because there wasn't a Melvin in our life at the time. Okay, Melvin Belly. I don't know what MTGY. What is that? Mary. It look one R and two S's. I almost wonder if he told me to misspell things. Montgomery. How could you make that out? MTGY. Nowadays, it would never get there. Okay. And it's 228. Okay, 1228. Okay. Okay, this is not his handwriting at all. I mean, this is not my handwriting. This is not the same handwriting you can see. This is somebody else. This is the Zodiac speaking. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Let me read it, but I don't think it's me. This is the Zodiac speaking. I wish you a happy Christmas. The one thing I ask of you is this. Please help me. I cannot reach out for help because of this thing in me won't let me. I am finding it extremely difficult to hold it in check. I am afraid I will lose control again and take my 9th and possibly 10th victim, and they are misspelling everything intentionally. Please help me. I am drowning. A plus the moment the children are safe from the bomb because it is so massive to dig in, and the trigger mech requires much work to get it adjusted just right. But if I hold back too long from no 9, I will lose all complete control of myself and set the bomb up. Please help me. I cannot remain in control for much longer. I wonder if that's like David Wayne Craig did that as the Zodiac copycat killer. But look at this envelope. I mean, it would never MTG Montgomery. I mean, you don't even see. I wouldn't have ever known that was Montgomery. And this is deliberately misspelled. It's just ridiculous how it's all misspelled. That's definitely a fake. And I wonder if it's David Wayne Craig, the copycat killer. I do. Okay. Because too many things were misspelled. I didn't misspell that badly. Okay, so April 20th, 1970. Now, at this point, this is the year, 1970 is the year I turned 5, but we're about to move out of California. So this was the last real letter from the Zodiac, right? November. And this must have been, it's very possible that he sent this after Uncle Norm talked to him, and he told Norm that that was his last letter and he wasn't doing anything. And that's why Uncle Norm didn't turn him in. I think we heard from him. I remember there was something like that. And I think that was what this letter did. It made Uncle Norm say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he said, I'm just talking a lot of shit. I'm not doing anything. We're about to move away. And, he was applying to Harvard at this time, Harvard Business School, and he knew he was going to be accepted, and he was. And then we moved, and I think we left in June. So April, we're getting ready to move. And this is a fake letter. This letter to Melvin Belly, and I think it really might have been written by the copycat Zodiac killer, and that was David Wayne Craig, my ex-boyfriend, the person who did away with my brand new husband, Ron Goldman, in 1994. Okay, but this was the beginning of his career being the copycat Zodiac killer. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is my handwriting. I can see. Yeah, I remember writing this letter. This is one I remember. Okay. Okay. This one is Sam. Looks like I'm trying to be all neat. And this is what date? Okay, April 20th. This is just before we leave California. All right. This is the Zodiac speaking. By the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? And my name is, I guess that's what it said. I haven't gone through these ciphers to study them myself. I know other people cracked them, and I don't know if they got them right. I mean, I guess they did, but they didn't get the name right. I mean, it says, I think I have to look it up, and I will do that in a moment. Okay, so I am mildly curious as to how much money you have on my head now. I hope you do not think, see, the people, my father, he was a, um, what's it called? A hitman for the CIA. And so he's talking like that because the people he KILLED had a price on their head, and he would succeed. When he succeeded, he got the money, right? And so that's interesting that he's talking about it here. I'm mildly curious as to how much money you have on my head now. See, that's what they would say. How much money on her head, you know? I hope you do not think that I was the one who wiped out that blue meanie with a bomb at the cop station. Blue meanie. He asked me what color the meanies were, and weren't they green or were they blue? No, they were blue. They were blue. And the Beatles song, you know, I co-wrote the Beatles songs at that, you know, so I told him they were blue, I guess. Blue was my favorite color. And Daddy, you know, I co-wrote them with Daddy, not Dennis Wayne Elliott, with Daddy Clint Eastwood. And yeah, the blue meanies, they were blue because that was my favorite color, and he wanted the meanies to be my favorite color. The musical hating antagonist from the Beatles animated films, Yellow Submarine. Yeah, I was thinking I got it wrong, but that is correct. They were blue. Okay, even though I talked about killing school children with one, it just wouldn't do the move more in someone else's territory. But there is more glory in KILLING, a cop, than a kid, because a cop can shoot back. I was the one that was really upset that he wanted to kill kids. And I guess, you know, and then with the pressure of Uncle Norm, and my grandmother got involved too. My grandma Elliott, was told, and they, you know, he promised, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just playing with them. And then I'm leaving California for good. And you'll never hear about me again. Yeah. My grandma Elliott was Uncle Norm got her involved. I have KILLED 10 people to date. It would have been a lot more, except that my bus bomb was a dud. I was swamped out by the rain we had a while back. And here it is. The new bomb is set up like this: sunlight in the early morning. Sun. Yeah, he was an engineer. And he would draw stuff like this for his, you know, he was getting his master's at night. It was a brand new, you know, subject in college at the time. It was a really hot subject, you know, to study engineering. Makes beautiful. Right. So I guess it was the sun would make it go off. If it was cloudy, it wouldn't go off. P.S. I hope you have fun trying to figure out who KILLED 10-0. Okay. So that is, we're talking, this is just before we left California, April 20th, 1970. Okay. Okay, now we were moving. This is when we left California, around in June sometime, I believe. Okay, so this is, what is this? Map code. Okay, what is this? All right, and then what's this? Yeah, we were traveling. He sent him a map. We were traveling cross country, and it says is to be set to. Okay. This is not my handwriting. Okay, so this might be the copycat. I don't know. Well, it does look a little more like my handwriting, doesn't it? But I can tell it's not. This is the Zodiac speaking. I have become very upset with the people of the San Francisco Bay Area. They have not complied with my wishes for them to wear some nice buttons. I promised to punish them as they did not comply by annihilating a full school bus. But now this does look like my handwriting. Now school is out for the summer, so I punished them in another way. I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a .38 millimeter. The map coupled with this code will tell you where the bomb is set. You have until next fall to dig it up. Yeah, I actually think this is. It doesn't look right though, does it? Maybe I'm trying to be neater and tidier in my handwriting. It doesn't start out looking like my handwriting, but then look, it reverts back to my handwriting. Yeah, I guess it is us. And look at this. Yeah, and we were about to go on a road trip. And when you go on a road trip, you have maps. So that makes sense that he would do that. And I do remember the buttons. I do remember that. Okay. Next. Okay, so that seems to be valid. And I think that was around the time we left. Okay, but here we are, July. We're on the road at this time. Okay. $1970. And where is it from? San Francisco. I don't think it would be. Yeah, this is not it. This is not my handwriting. This is the Zodiac speaking. I am rather unhappy because you people will not wear some nice Zodiac buttons. So I now have a little list starting with a woman and her baby. Oh my God. Starting with the woman and her baby that I gave a rather interesting ride to a couple hours one evening. See, I would not misspell all of these things like this. A few months back, that ended in with my burning her car where I found them. Okay, I don't think that's not it. I mean, it's actually pretty close because it looked like I was trying to be neater sometimes with the handwriting on. That really might be David Wayne Craig, the copycat. Okay. Because we were already on the road. We were probably close to, but in July, we were probably getting close to Iowa or thereabouts. And this is, what is this? Look at Clave. Look at that. CLAI. That's my name. Clave. What is this? Okay, let me find the first page. I don't know where the first page is. Let's just go here, see if this is the first page. Looks like that's the end. Okay, is this the... I'm trying to get over here. That's the same. Is this the first page? Someday, no, that's not. It does. In your face, they would never miss. Where's the beginning? I don't see the beginning. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is it. This is, it does look similar though. Okay. Being that you will not wear some nice, how about wearing some nasty zodiac, but some nice zodiac buttons? What? Some nasty, how about wearing some nasty zodiac buttons or any type of zodiac buttons that you can think of? If you do not wear any type of zodiac buttons, I shall, on top of everything else, torture all 13 of my slaves that I have waiting for me in paradise. Some I shall tie over and kills. See, I don't, anthills. Okay, tie over anthills and watch them scream and twitch and squirm. Others shall have pine splinters driven under their nails and then burned. Others shall be placed in cages and fed salt beef until they are gorged. Then I shall listen to their pleas for water, and I shall laugh at them. Others will hang by their thumbs and burn in the, I will rub them deep heat. Okay. I'm just wondering if this is really him. Okay. So he's talking and burn in the something. Then I will rub their something with deep heat to warm in your face. They would never be missed. They would never be missed. And the idiot who, see, you can tell this is not my handwriting, but it's very close. He's getting good at imitating it. It's just not my handwriting. They would never be missed. And the idiot who praises with enthusiasm. See, he's misspelling too many things too. I didn't misspell that much stuff. Tone of centuries. I really do think that my father got me to misspell certain things. He wanted me to spell things certain ways. I think I knew how to spell better than how how it appears in the zodiac letters. But this is definitely somebody who's trying to imitate the tone of centuries, but this and every country but his own. And the lady from the provinces who dress like a guide doesn't cry and singularly abominably. The girl who never kissed, I don't think she would be missed. I'm sure she wouldn't be missed. And that nice and priest that is rather rife, the judicial hammerist, I've got him on the list. All funny fellows, comic men, and clowns of private life. They'd none of them be missed. They'd none of them be missed. And uncompromising kinds such as whatchamacallit, thingamabob, and likewise, well, never mind. And tut, and what's his name? And see, this is not a real letter. This is not real. Where is this? Where am I? Did I lose you? Oh, okay. Okay. This is not real. Is this the next? As someday it may happen that a victim must be found. I've got a little list. Of society offenders who might well be underground, who would never be missed, No, this is not Zodiac. There is the pestilential nuances who write for autographs, all people who have flabby hands and irritating laughs, all children who are up in dates and implore you with plat, all people who are shaking hands, shake hands like that, and all third persons who with unspoiling take those who insist they'd none of them be missed, There's the banjo serenader and the others of his race and the piano organist. I got him on the list. All people who eat peppermint and pomfret. I don't know what that is. Maybe this is easier to read, this one. Them up. Others I shall skin them alive like. See, this one is this handwriting is even sloppier than mine. I shall skin them alive and let them run around screaming, and all billiard players I shall have them play in a darkened dungeon with crooked cues and twisted shoes. Yes, I shall have great fun inflicting the most delicious of pain to my slaves. Okay. Yeah, this is not a real Zodiac litter. I think this is the copycat Zodiac killer. That is David Wayne Craig. I think he confessed to me that he was. I mean, I guess the copycat Zodiac killer did kill, but he also wrote letters, didn't he? I think that's David's, and he did really well imitating the handwriting, but you can see it's a lot sloppier. It's not as deliberate as mine, and it changes, throughout. It's not consistent handwriting. Okay. Okay, so, and at the time we were on the road. So this is Kathleen John's letter. Okay. So we were on the road, traveling from California. We were stopping at my grandparents in Iowa and over in Wellsville, New York. And then I was 2 weeks late for my kindergarten class in the fall, in September. So we were like, instead of after Labor Day, we got there like 2 weeks late. So it must have been towards the latter part of September of 1970. Okay, little list letter. This is around the same time. Here we go. And look at Clave. How did is this the second time that they're spelling it that way? I'm wondering if he just David Craig, Craig is with an A-G-A-I, Craig. Yeah. Is that what he was trying to do? He didn't know me yet. I had not met David Craig yet. This is 1970. So that's really interesting. That's like my name, Claire, Clave. They just switched it's A-L-I-F. They just switched the L and the A. And that was what happened the last envelope, right? Let me just double check, okay? Kathleen letter. No, they spelled it that right there. The map code. This is the last bona fide letter. That's spelled right. So is that the only one? Yeah. I guess that was the only one that had it misspelled. I thought I saw it misspelled before, but maybe I'm wrong. This one is spelled right. Yeah. Little list. This is the one where it's spelled wrong. Like my name. It's so weird, but I don't think this is us, but let's just see. Where's the first letter? Here. Yeah, see, you notice how it's not as tidy as my handwriting. It's very similar. He worked really hard to look like my handwriting, but I don't believe this is it. Being that you will not wear some night. How about wearing? Okay, we just read this. Okay, I got it. That's why I saw it before, because we already went through this. Okay, so that's the little list. Okay, I'm a little confused. So this one was that. Okay, and it, like I said, it does not look like my handwriting. Yeah, I would not have done that. Double B's there and hours. I would not have misspelled. That's just exaggerating, you know? It was just over exaggerating. And a woman and her baby there. My father did KILL a baby, dismembered a baby right in front of my eyes. It was this it really traumatized me. It was a baby. We were walking down the street. I don't know where, and he just takes this baby out of the carriage and just tears it apart. And I mean, I watched this with my own eyes, and the mother was so scared, she just ran away. She didn't do anything to defend her baby. She just saw him going for the baby and she just ran away. And I remember, like, how could the mother have just let her baby to be torn apart? And I don't know what was in the news or what. I just know I saw a baby be torn apart, and I was very traumatized by that, and I had to talk to daddy about it. I don't know if it was in San Francisco. I wasn't. I mean, I don't. It was in some random place, and he just like an animal just went for the baby and took the baby, and the woman just like was so scared she ran away, let her baby be torn apart. I remember just being really horrified by that. So when he was talking about a baby, a mother and her baby, it just really reminded me of that. But I don't think that's a bona fide zodiac letter. Okay, so here, this is the next one. Um, the Chronicle Pace Card, October 5th, 1970. So we have arrived to Lexington, Massachusetts by this time. Okay, I was 2 weeks late for kindergarten, and which would have been like late September, probably, right? Because we started school after Labor Day, and 2 weeks late would be towards the end of September. So this would be after that time. Let's see if it's anything that looks right. I don't think it does. And if he would have had to travel to San Francisco to send it there. Yeah. Yeah, this is typed. It's not the zodiac. This is fake. You'll hate me, but I've got to tell you, the pace isn't any slower. In fact, it's just one big something. 13th. 13. Some of them fought. It was horrible. That's the same thing. There are reports city police pig cops are closing in on me. RK, or I don't know what that is. I'm crack proof. What is the price? Tag now. Okay. This is fake. This is not from the Zodiac. Again, it's probably the copycat Zodiac Killer, which was David Wayne Craig. Okay. Okay, now this is near Halloween in 1970. Again, we're in Lexington, Massachusetts. My father has begun attending Harvard Business School, and he's not working. He's putting all his time into getting his MBA in record time. So, we had no money. We were living on the money we made from selling our house in Palo Alto. Okay. This was the poorest time in my childhood. We lived in a little house. We rented a little house in Lexington, Massachusetts. And my mother was very traumatized to have so little money. She was panicking. I remember I spilt milk on the floor by accident, and she made me spoon it up and put it back in my cup so I could drink it, because we couldn't afford to waste any milk. I remember I was told I had to turn off lights, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to afford our bills, and we'd be on the street homeless. I mean, this is how traumatizing it was. And he had to get through Harvard Business School in record time so he could make some big money. That was the goal. Okay, and my mother never worked, but she, I mean, she finished out the school year when she was pregnant with me, and my father never wanted her to work because, in those days, I guess I don't know, women who worked made it looked like the husband couldn't afford to pay the bills. It was another time period. And, not all, there were career women back then, but my mother wasn't one of them. My father had to look like he could provide for his family. But at this time, my mother had to teach a weekly cooking class. I can't imagine she made very much from it, but it helped, I guess. And it was like some pocket change. It helped us. She never had to work ever in their marriage. And that was the one time she did. Okay, let's click it. I remember this. Yeah, see, I don't think I used to think I remember glancing at all the letters at one time, and I didn't know, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to the time, to the time period and what or anything. I was just looking at random letters and feeling around you. Okay, I feel it in my bones. You wake to know my name, and so I'll clue you in. This is Secret Pal. Paradise. By gun, by rope, by knife. Yeah, this is not a real Zodiac thing at all. Yeah, it's not. This is fake. Let me see. But then why spoil the fun, the game? 14, boo. I don't know what all these things are. Peekaboo. You are doomed. Okay. I don't know. I think this must be the copycat Zodiac killer. And that's David Wayne Craig, my ex-boyfriend. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, March 13th, 1971. Where were we? My father it was his first year at Harvard Business School getting his MBA. He didn't have time to do much else. He was just trying to get it done in record time. He got his MBA in a year and a half, which was really fast. So unless he traveled to Los Angeles, this was not. And, David moved to Los Angeles. His mother lived in Los Angeles, his mother and two of his brothers at the time. And, he moved to Los Angeles eventually himself. So that just reeks. The fact that it's Los Angeles Times, it just leads me to believe it's David Wayne Craig, the copycat Zodiac killer. But let's see. Okay, I don't know. I guess this is the same thing. Okay, let's look at it. It looks like the handwriting, right? He's gotten really good at imitating it, but it's not. You can see how it's much sloppier. It is a similar writing. This is the Zodiac speaking. Like I have always said, I am crack proof. If the blue meanies are ever, and he has an E at the end, going to catch me, they had best get off their fat asses and do something, because the longer they fiddle and fart around, the more slaves I will collect for my afterlife. I do have to give them credit for stumbling across my riverside activity. Reversive activity, Riverside. I think it's Riverside. Riverside, California is where the temple was. It's where Nietzsche and Buddhists were, but he didn't start chanting until 1975, so that wouldn't be right. But Riverside, but they are only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there. The reason that I am writing to the Times is this: they can't bury me on the back pages like some of the others. Okay. It says 17. By the time I went to school, my handwriting changed. This is not my handwriting anymore. If I'm in kindergarten, I'm not writing yet. I mean, I'm not supposed to be writing yet, right? It's first grade, right? When they start teaching you to write. And that's when my handwriting changed. And, you see how it's just kind of sloppy. It's not like the straight lines. I used to use a straight edge sometimes to write straight. But that's a really good imitation of the handwriting. But I do believe this is a fake. This is the copycat Zodiac killer. Let me just see this. Airmail. Airmail. Okay. And this is the original, right? Is that the same one as this? No. This is the Zodiac speaking. Is that the same? That's the same as that, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now this is Lake Tahoe, 1971. Okay, so March 7th. This is right after that one. And again, my father is working on his MBA at Harvard Business School. We don't have a lot of money. He's just working to get his MBA so he can make money again. So we don't have to be so tight. Yeah, see, this is not, I mean, peek through the pines, past Lake Tahoe. Okay. Around in the snow, past Lake Tahoe areas, peek through the pines, Sierra Club. This is not. This is not real. This is probably the copycat Zodiac killer. It's not a bona fide Zodiac letter. All right, exorcist letter. All of these are probably fake. Let me just see. Yeah. Okay. I saw and think The Exorcist was the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen. Signed, yours truly. He planned himself into the billowy wave, and on echo arose from the suicide's grave. Tutwillow. Oh, okay. When was this? 1974. Okay, this is the one. This is a fake one. I saw the person write this. This was from Stuart Humpert, who asked me if it would be. I didn't remember anything about my father being the Zodiac, but he heard my father with the Zodiac, and he asked me if it would be okay if he sent in a fake Zodiac letter. I said, okay, whatever. This is Stuart Humpert that sent this. And where is it sent from? Let me see the mail. Let's well, we know when it was sent, but was it sent from San Francisco? I assume so. He lived in San Francisco. I mean, he was with us on the East Coast at the time, but he probably went back to San Francisco to mail this. He lived in Napa Valley, and he had been, he had grown up. He was there when all that stuff happened in the 60s. And so he was really fascinated when he found out that it was my father. But I just want to know. I mean, I guess they would say if it came from anywhere else but San Francisco, right? Yeah, I guess he went back to California to mail it, but he wrote it in front of me in Old Greenwich, Connecticut. Stuart Humpert of Napa Valley wrote this letter, this fake Zodiac letter. And yeah, he was in my life. Yeah, beginning of 74. That was very soon after I had met him. It was before he was actually going out with my mother. It was before my parents' separation. So there's a gap in here. It's 3 years here. Almost 3 years. And here we go. This is in 1974. Let's see. Editor. Dear Mr. Editor, did you know that the initials spell slaw like owners warning? Yeah, this is not, it doesn't even match any of the handwriting. That's not the Zodiac Killer. Okay, that's not a bona fide Zodiac letter. Just somebody having fun. And this one, Fifth Admission, and oops, down here. Sirs, I would like to express my consternation concerning your poor taste and lack of sympathy for the public, as evidenced by your running of the ads for the movie Badlands, featuring the blurb. In 1959, most people were KILLING time. Kit a whole, you were killing people. I don't know what it's saying. In light of recent events, this kind of MURDERING glorification can only be deplorable at best. Not that glorification of violence is even justifiable. Why don't you show some concern for your public sensibilities and cut the ad? A citizen. See, it's a similar handwriting, but it's not. This is not from the Zodiac. Okay.
Hey.
Dean, I'm on here, so keep it down, okay? Okay, so it's okay. You want to go for a walk, Lily? All right, here's another one. I can tell already it's not right. Yeah, this is totally wrong handwriting. Put Marco back in the hellhole, editor, from whence it came. He has a serious psychological disorder, always needs to feel superior. I suggest you refer him to a shrink. Meanwhile, cancel the Count Marco column, since the Count can write anonymously, so can I. The Red Phantom, red with rage. Yeah, that's not a bona fide Zodiac letter. It's a fake. All right, so it was only the last bona fide one. Let's be clear here. Yeah, this is fake. The last one sent was the map, right? These are all fake, right? Let me just make sure they're all fake. Yeah. Yeah. This was the one that talked about, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is not right. Because it doesn't. I do remember the buttons, though. So that's why I'm thinking this is real. Yeah, I really think this was the last one. And it really, at first I was thinking it wasn't real, that it wasn't ours. But I remember him being upset about this and wanting them to wear buttons. I remember all that. So it just looks like I was trying to write in a different handwriting to begin with. And then I went back into my old handwriting. It looks like I was maybe trying to be more tidy at the beginning. And after that, people started imitating that, I guess, and I can tell the difference between what they did and what, yeah, see, all of these are fake. That was the last real one, and this one is, okay, what is this? You can tell it's not the same writing. This is not bona fide. All these misspellings are just not genuine. They're not all these misspellings are ridiculous. There's too many misspellings. They're ridiculous misspellings. And the handwriting's not quite right. It's very close. Somebody really studied the writing, got it very close. And I really do think that was David Wayne Craig. So this is the only last one. This last one is the only one that is real. The last one, it was only up to here that's real, and the rest are all fake. All of them. And David Wayne Craig might have been the one that sent the most of those fake ones. All right, what is this? These are what? Riverside documents linked to unsolved. I'll just glance at these. I don't want to read all this. I'm done. I don't know why they're linking these to Zodiac, because you can tell these are not at all the same. These are fake. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they're linking them. And it's typewritten. I'm not even, this is the confession. I'm not even going to read this because this is not Zodiac. I don't know why they even have it linked. And where is that supposed to be? Where? Riverside, California. Yeah. And that was what year? What year is that? I can't see. Wait, I guess it's here. November 1955. Is that what he said? That, oh, is this what the Zodiac mentioned? Oh, okay. So this might be my father's handwriting. This is before I was born. This is when he was a young man. Is he, or is it 65, 55? What is this? My father was born in 1941. Right. So in 51, he was 10 years old. He would have, this must say 65. Does it say 65? When did that happen? I mean, I'm a little confused here. What is this one? 1950 what? Yeah. No. Well, it does look like a kid's handwriting, doesn't it? No, he wasn't. He was 15 years old. He was born in 1941. So in 61, he was 20. And during the time of the Zodiac, it was 69, was it? Right, it was 69. It started in July, right? And then it goes into 70. And then this is the last bona fide letter from the Zodiac. After that, they're all fake. And so in 69, he was 28. Is that right? Born in 41. Yeah, July. In July, right before this, he was, that's interesting. His birthday is July 13th, 1969. This was a big hint that everybody received it on 3/1 July 1969, because his birthday is the reverse of these numbers, July 13th. That was a big hint for everybody, I guess. That's interesting. Okay. So he had just turned, I guess, 28. That was the age I was in 1994 when my ex-boyfriend, David Wayne Craig, Mureddered, my brand new husband, Ron. I was 28. the same age Zodiac was, my father, the Zodiac, was when he first started writing letters. Or, well, in my handwriting. Okay, then there's a secret pal card. What is this? Linked to the Zodiac by handwriting experts and other possible communications. In 1990, December 1990. What is this? No, I can tell it's not. But again, by that time, 1990, I was writing in a totally different way. So somebody else, I mean, yeah, my handwriting had totally changed because I was no longer a child, and I had developed my own handwriting by then. But I'm going to keep you guessing. What was the beginning of here it is. From your secret pal, can't guess who I am yet? Well, look inside and you'll find out. And then this is the inside. That I'm going to keep you guessing. Happy holidays anyway. Okay. Just want to look. And you'll find out that I'm going to keep you guessing. Happy holidays anyway. I guess that's what it says. And this is from Eureka, California, 1990. Eureka. That could have been David because he was, in California at that time. This is 1990 is when I started chanting again as an adult. And what's the date? December 1990. I had seen him. I had seen him by this time. December 1990. I started chanting again as an adult in February around his birthday. It just so happens it was February 10th, and he had spotted me, and maybe he knew who I was. Who my father, that my father was the real Zodiac or something. And maybe he would have done something like this. I don't know what this is about with the keys. Well, I know David traveled all the time, did road trips all the time. When we were together, we did a lot of road trips in California. And it's possible he could have just sent this just for the hell of it, just for fun. After seeing me again, he might have been told that my father was a Zodiac, and that must have been such a shock to him because at that time he was like 21 years old, and it was 1975 when I met him. And I'm talking about David Wayne Craig, my ex-boyfriend. In 1975, he was born in 54, so he was 21 years old, and he had just been the copycat Zodiac killer, and he was introduced to me, and maybe somebody pulled him aside and told him, "Oh, by the way, her father is the Zodiac killer," and that must have been so flabbergasting for him. And yeah, I guess it's possible once he spotted me again as an adult, in Los Angeles, maybe he decided it reignited his imagination, and he decided to do this at the end of the year after seeing me. We didn't start going out until 1993, just before the murders. Oh, I shouldn't say that word. In 1994. Okay. And that's it, right? Did I get everything? I wanted to look at something. Remember, I was talking about something that I wanted to look up. Okay, recent posts. These are recent posts. Okay. So that's it. Wow. I did it. I went through all of them. And, I've glanced through them, and I don't know if I went through them like that before ever. I did go through them at one time, and I knew a lot of them were fake, but I never really I don't think I did it publicly yet. This is the first time. You can look at my the Zodiac. Actually, it used to be called the ZODIAC KILLERS daughter channel, but it's now the Dragon King's daughter channel, and you can see it down here on my channel. It's at the bottom. You can click on it and you can look through my videos to see if I ever went through the zodiac letters. I might have, actually. I do remember going through them at one time, but I don't know if I came to the same conclusion I did tonight. You know, my memories have developed and evolved over time, you know. But yeah, I can tell that this is the final word tonight, that June 26, 1970, with the maps, is the very last bona fide zodiac letter. And it makes sense that there are maps in it, that he shares. It's the map code letter, because we were traveling cross country to the East Coast so he could attend Harvard Business School. And we left around this time, like around June, I don't know, end of June. And we were traveling all summer, stopping at both my grandparents' house and, you know, staying for, you know, weeks at a time and then moving along. It's a very long journey. We had a U-Haul trailer behind our those wagons. What are they? The family wagons. What are they called? You know, those old family, are they called family wagons? I can't remember now. It was like an olive green with fake wood on the sides. You know, those old family wagons. Weren't they family wagons? Yeah. And we had our dog in the back, and my brother and I were in the back seat, and we were separated. You know, everything was packed up, and I had my little cubby hole, and my brother had his own cubby hole on the other side of the back seat. You know, lots of stuff packed between us, and then our dog just had a little cubby hole in the back by the rear window. And we were happy at the beginning of our journey. We were happy to eat oat raisin cookies that my mother made really good oat raisin cookies, and she thought that they would be very healthy for us on the road because they're oatmeal and raisins. But at the end of that trip, we didn't want to have oatmeal raisin cookies ever again. We were so tired of them. Yeah, she had made a bunch of them and put them, you know, packed them away, and that's all we ate on our journey, except when we stopped at our grandparents' houses. All right, wow, it's 2.5 hours later. It took that amount of time to go through all of those. I'm glad I finally did, and made it official, you know, what are real and what aren't. I can't believe that everybody thought those other ones were real. I just can't even believe it. Maybe the fake ones made him more famous than he would have been. I don't know. Kept the focus on Zodiac longer. My grandma and my uncle Norm. I mean, when my father wouldn't stop writing letters, I know my uncle Norm got my grandma involved, and so with the pressure of his mother and his brother, he couldn't do it anymore. He had to stop writing letters. He had to stop everything. But the problem was he didn't stop the killing. Okay. KILLING. That's the only thing he didn't stop. And, you know, it's too bad that they didn't turn him in. It would have, I mean, of course, then I wouldn't have lived. I mean, I suffered a lot more because they didn't turn him in. And a lot of people got KILLED because they didn't turn him in. And, my grandmother has since passed away, but Norman Elliott, he's still, let's just share the screen. He's still alive and well in Salt Lake City, Utah. Yeah. He's got a little dementia. I talked about that yesterday. He's not himself anymore. But he's got emphysema. Maybe he even has lung cancer. He hasn't told me. He has home health come over to take care of him, every other week. At least that was the case a couple years ago. And yeah, he still lives. And the FBI knows. I don't know. I guess Uncle Norm, he just thinks, well, we never got caught. He never got caught, so I won't be held responsible. I guess you're not. That's the thing. I mean, you're not obligated. I guess the ways that the laws of the United States work is that you're not obligated to turn somebody in. I thought you were obligated by law, but he wasn't involved. His hair was put under one of the stamps. Oh, that's what I wanted to look up. I wanted to see which letter which zodiac letter. It's really raining outside. Has a hair underneath the stamp. There isn't a specific zodiac letter or cipher that had a hair under the stamp. Yes, it did. Rather, a single hair was found under the stamp of a letter sent by the Zodiac Killer to the San Francisco Chronicle on October 13th, 1969. Okay, I got to go back. Let's see. Do I have this? October 13th. Okay, there's no October 13th letter. Okay, so it wasn't a letter. It was found on a mailed package, not on a letter with a zodiac symbol on it, and was collected as potential evidence. It was a single hair. Where was it found? Under the stamp of a letter sent to the San Francisco Chronicle. But it was a letter? When was it sent? October 13th, 1969. It was sent by the Zodiac Killer. This was a piece of potential evidence in the ongoing investigation. But it wasn't a letter. It was just what? What was it? It says, oh, here, I forgot to share it. Sorry. It was a single hair under the stamp of a letter sent to the San Francisco Chronicle on October 13th. Oh, this thing, I don't know why it keeps doing this. Okay, let me see. Let me write photo of zodiac letter, October 13, 1969. Okay, regarding Paul Stein. Oh, okay. I don't know. There was no October 13th, was there? Oh, maybe I'm just in the wrong area. Okay. So it was this letter. October 13th? I'm trying to find this. Okay. I'm trying to find it. October 13th. So it is, I'm just trying to see this. This hair under stamp. Sent to the Chronicle. Okay, so it was, let me share this tab instead. So, okay, I was just in the wrong section. It was this letter. This is where we put, here, I'm going to click it. What is it, Sandy? So I guess, I mean, I remember, the way I remember it is that Uncle Norm was staying at our house soon after this, and I showed it to him. You know, I had tried to go to my mother, and then he visited us after. And I mean, when did that happen? When did what is it, Sandy? Paul Stein on the 11th. Okay. Wow, Paul Stein looks like my father. Here, let me share. Look at that. This is what my father looked like in those days. Isn't that weird? He looks like him. The night of the 11th. Okay, so October 13th was 2 days after. So the night of the 11th, so on the 12th, it was on his desk, and I showed my mother, and she pretended it was a woman's rag, didn't want to have anything to do with it, wouldn't listen to me. And then maybe like that day, like the next day, Uncle Norm visited. I mean, it's pretty tight, the dates, because in my mind, it's like I went to my, Paul Stein, that poor taxi cab driver, that night happened. And then I went to my mother, showed her, he came home and he put it on his desk in a little box on his desk as a souvenir. And then I showed my mother the piece, the bloodied piece of shirt. And, so that would have happened maybe the next day, maybe the 12th. And yeah, my father, by the way, he looked a lot like this guy in those days. And I have some old pictures of him, but I won't get into it this time. So it happened on the night of the 11th. We would have come home. My father would have put it on his desk and showed me. And then on the 12th, and then I showed my mother maybe right away, and she just pretended it was some bloody rag from a woman and having her period. And then Uncle Norm came the next day, the 13th, and I showed him, and then we confronted my mother and the whole thing. And maybe that's when we wrote the letter and he sent it, and they got it on the 13th. I mean, I don't know. He would have had to send it on the 12th, right? For them to get it on the 13th, right? Right. So they received it on the 13th. So it was sent out on the 12th. And usually the way my father sent out these letters, my mother would drive him to the station. I think stop. I'm going to stop sharing. She'd always drive him to the station in the morning, and I'd usually be in the car. Sometimes I'd be in the car, sometimes I wouldn't. I was saying that my mother would sleep in sometimes too, and the baby was still sleeping. I mean, that's why I was watching the morning show with my father alone. My mother wasn't there, but she would take him to the train a lot. He would go on the train. But why did he? He would tell my mother to mail these letters. But we lived in Palo Alto. But maybe they were mailed out of when you mailed a letter from Palo Alto, they were stamped San Francisco in those days. I mean, that's possible. But yeah, I remember him handing her the letters he's like, "Can you mail that for me?" And she's like, Yeah, sure. And she'd be like, why did you write in such a weird handwriting? You know, because that wasn't his handwriting. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just mail it for me, okay? And I guess on some level she knew because she had seen the Zodiac all over the place and seen the letters and all, like everybody else. And she was really freaked out by it. And then I guess he would mail them himself. But I remember him trying to get her to mail them. Maybe he wanted her to see it or something. But she mailed it. I think she did mail it. I was with her when she did. Okay, so it happened very soon. I guess Uncle Norm was visiting. He must have been visiting, but I remember him arriving after I had already gone to my mother. So it happened on the evening of the 11th. I went to my mother the next day, and she just ignored me and pretended whatever. And my father and I would have had to be writing. How did it all happen in time? I don't know. I can't explain it. Because if they received it on the 12th, everything would have happened in one day. I would have gone to my mother, and then Uncle Norm comes and arrives, and I talk to him. And then we go to talk to my mother, and we confront my father, all that stuff. My father confessed to Uncle Norm, and he told my mother that he confessed, and my father confessed to my mother and admitted that he was it. And you'll ruin our lives if you ever turn him in, and you'll ruin our lives. Oh, I don't want to ruin your life. And here I am thinking, well, my life is already ruined. Who cares? It had to have happened in the span of one day. And we were writing that letter that night after he came back from work, right? The 12th. But then, wait, you would have had to, did we write it that night when we got home? And then the next day, Uncle Norm comes, and I confront my mother, and then Uncle Norm arrives. I talk to him, the whole thing, and then it gets mailed out. Maybe he takes the train to San Francisco because my mother was always taking him to the train. Maybe he's gone up to San Francisco to mail these things. He worked for Sylvania at the time, which was, I guess, in Palo Alto, and he was going to school at Stanford, getting his master's. So, but he would take the train a lot, and my mother would take him to the train, and I'd be in the car. And one time he gave her something to mail, and she said, "Why is it written in such weird handwriting?" And she did. She mailed it. But because she was so weirded out, I don't think he gave her any more letters to mail. I think there was one she didn't mail, and I think he got upset about it, and we had to rewrite the letter. I think I remember something like that. And then he didn't give her any more letters to mail because she knew. I mean, I guess on some level she knew. But wanted to not know. My mother was a little more deliberate about her denial than I ever was. I genuinely was in denial. My mother willed her denial and engineered it for everybody else. She was different. Her denial was different than mine. She wasn't completely innocent like I am. All right. Well, I think that's enough for one day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. I deserve it. And, if you can handle the truth, then please subscribe if you haven't already. Okay. Well, over now. Peace out. Thank you for watching.